Boris Johnson and his Irish counterpart Leo Varadkar have said they can see a pathway to a possible Brexit deal. After more than 2 hours of talks at a country house on the Wirral, the two leaders said a deal was in everybody's interest. Mr Varadkar said he thought it was still possible that a deal could be done by the end of October, but he declined to say what had changed. Here's our political editor Laura Kuenssberg.
Off to work. A private plane for the Irish leader. A speeding limousine for the Prime Minister. The two of them heading to an encounter that could change things for us all. Tucked away at a country house on the Wirral, a private moment of massive public importance. Could they shake on a deal? After a couple of hours of talks, there wasn't white smoke, but an official statement. The two men agreed they could see a pathway to a possible deal. Their discussions concentrated, not surprisingly perhaps, on the challenges of customs and consent. They agreed to reflect further on their discussions and that officials would continue to engage intensively on them. In other words, it's not on, nor is it off.
I think it is possible for us to come to an agreement to have a treaty agreed to allow the UK to leave the EU in an orderly fashion and to have that done by the end of October. But there is many a slip between cup and lip and lots of things that are not in my control.
The two men talked for nearly 3 hours, with time one-on-one. It's a different tone, certainly, from the last few days. But whether they understand each other is one thing. Finding a way out of a fundamental clash is another. The UK wants a Brexit deal, but there'd be different custom systems on either side of the Irish border.
Stop Brexit! Stop Brexit!
Ireland wants the system north and south to stay the same.
The conversation between the Prime Minister and Leo Varadkar, they were cordial, they were constructive, they were open, and they say that there's going to be progress.
The opposition is sceptical whether an agreement can really happen.
We're in for a few days of shadow boxing by Boris Johnson. At the moment, his behaviour and the language he's used suggests that he's not going to reach an agreement with the European Union.
Despite some better vibes today, a deal's a long way from lined up. Around the continent, leaders are preparing too for the process to end with no agreement. We want to reduce the negative effects if there's a disorderly Brexit, Angela Merkel said.
Remember, this is urgent, very urgent. The summit where a deal was meant to be finalised is a week today. And any big compromises the Prime Minister were to give would make things harder here in Westminster. There may have been progress of a few paces today, but the two sides were miles apart.
Leo Varadkar might have got back on his plane feeling more hopeful. Boris Johnson arrived back home with a sniff of progress in the air.
Has there been a breakthrough, Prime Minister?
But there are still problems to solve and other political partners to satisfy. On Brexit, this Prime Minister cannot please all of the people all of the time. Laura Kuenssberg, BBC News, Westminster.